Let's play it.
Oh hey, welcome to a completely different kind of video than I normally do. Hi, I'm a cat meow. Not really, but today when I'm filming this is Friday, and Saturday I will not be in town, which means I do not want to bring my camera, so I'm doing what the YouTubers call pre-recording. So welcome back everybody to another Coffee with Cass. I've got my lobster cup from my lobster. Oh girl, the tea is piping hot. But yeah, so today I'm going to be doing something completely different than I usually do. This is not something that I've invented by any means. This is going to be a chit chat get ready with me because it's Friday and I have a meeting with the executives at my company today. So I have to look presentable. So I'm going to get ready and, you know, chat while I do it because that's what a chit chat get ready with me is. Anyway, I'm not a YouTuber. I don't know how these things are supposed to go. Anyway, so yeah, today is Friday. So yeah, it's the freaking weekend. It actually is my payday today too, which is really nice. I love getting paid on Fridays. It's my life. And I guess the thing that I can talk about, because I am doing my makeup and it is makeup related, is this whole thing that's going down in the beauty community right now. So last week, I think, I was on Twitter and I saw Thomas Halbert, who's a YouTuber, tweet about, it was actually Huda Beauty, who is the, I guess, founder. I don't know exact details or anything, but she basically heads up Huda Beauty, obviously, because that's her name. And so she came out with some stuff recently that is essentially a ripoff of another brand. And not only is it another brand, which, you know, it's one thing if it's like last year, I think, or the year before, when Too Faced and Tarte were both coming out with like unicorn stuff. Like, that is one thing to have the same idea but have like different colors or whatever. Or like mermaids, I would argue, in the beauty community at this point are not like revolutionary in any way. Mermaids, unicorns, like any fairy tale type of shit, like it's been done, honey. Like we've seen all the unicorns and mermaids we can possibly handle. But Huda came out with some easy bake oven themed setting powders and stuff in like a whole set. Now, if you are familiar with an indie brand called Beauty Bakerie, you would know that that is essentially their entire fucking concept. So they basically stole their idea, which is the theme of an entire brand. And so Jeffree Star called them out for it, and so I was just watching videos of just all the stuff that's going on with that. Like, it's just really sad because, you know, it kind of reminds me of like when I was finishing college and getting ready to like get into the real world and like make my own stuff. Like, I went to school for for film production, so people would always ask, well, when are you going to make a movie? When are you going to do this, that, and the other? First of all, I don't have the money to make a movie. But second of all, I didn't have, and still don't have, a script or an idea, really, for something to make. So I'm not just going to, you know, make something for the sake of it right now. I'd rather wait until I have an idea or, you know, I'm inspired by something. And speaking of inspired by, it's one thing to be inspired by. So even if she were to admit and say like, yeah, we saw your brand we were very inspired by the theme of like baking and cake mix and flour, and like, for fuck's sake, man, like all of Beauty Bakerie's things are baking themed in some capacity, like from their powders down to their like lipsticks. It's very clearly branded, and there's a theme going on, so you cannot sit there and say that you didn't know that exists. Like, even the pictures from the ad campaigns look way too eerily similar. So I used to love the faux filter foundation from Huda, but I will never I was trying to say I will never use it again, and I will no longer be using it, but my brain just kind of like merged everything together because two of my brain cells were arguing and neither of them won. So yeah, I don't want to support that kind of thing. So I mean, it sucks like when people make good products or like stuff that you really like, and then you find out they're shitty people or they do things like this, and it's just like, it's a real shame. Because, you know, when you have that much money and you're that big of a brand, like, and also you know that like you had to create yourself from the ground up, why would you then turn around and do someone else who's like also starting from nothing and like a smaller brand? Like, also, the woman who founded and owns and started Beauty Bakerie, she's a mom and she's a cancer survivor. Like, it's just I just don't want to support that kind of thing. So long story long, not gonna be doing that anymore. I just wouldn't be able to sleep at night knowing that I was supporting someone who takes someone else's creative ideas, because like, it's one thing like in the movie and television industry to like make something similar, because like everything's been done, and that's true with like makeup too, is that honestly I feel like, and I am sure a lot of people would agree, a lot of like colors and stuff like that, like it's been done, you know, like there's arguably, you could say, you know, there are some like subtle differences between some colors, or, you know, like maybe it's not all in the same palette or whatever, but you know, it's really hard to come up with a new color that people have never seen before. What's not hard is not stealing an entire brand's theme and idea because you don't have your own. And so, how did we... Wow, I am so white that my camera is trying to focus on my closet wall instead of, there we go. Hi, I'm the ghost here. Also, I usually do not use, this is my foundation brush. I usually don't use it for concealer, but I didn't wet my sponge beforehand, and so I didn't want to get up and do that because that would have been a weird pause, and I just wanted to be able to do this all in one shot like I do. So yeah, kind of sad to say, but I will no longer be using the Huda Beauty, and now my light turns off, faux filter foundation. So I mean, it is a really good foundation. I just can't support someone stealing someone else's ideas. It would basically be like, you know, like I said, like in movies and television, everything has been done. Every story has been told in some way or another. So it's just about creating characters that people can relate to, or that have, you know, like some sort of different character traits, and not just the same like plain boring ass vanilla, which is now what I will be referring to white people as, thing. Because it's been done, you know, there's enough. And then on top of that, Beauty Blender, which is a brand of beauty sponges, I personally don't own any, and until they fix the problem I'm going to address now, nor will I, but basically they came out with 32 foundation shades, which sounds fantastic, because even, I think, I want to say it was Kim Kardashian's brand, but I don't know for sure. Oh, that was a bad idea. A lot of brands will come out with anywhere from like 12 to 15 is usually like the range, and they may or may not expand on it. Basically, Beauty Blender said they were coming out with 32 foundations. Everybody was jazzed as sheep. I realized a couple minutes in that I need to tone it down with the language. Anyway, so everybody was very excited because they said they were coming out with 32 shades. Sounds great. You look at the shade range, it's 3 full rows of vanilla and 1 row of barely any melanin infused colors. I personally I saw that and I was like, well, honey, the tea is hot today. Like, there are so many foundations for light skin tones, like of every variety, drugstore, high-end, like it exists everywhere in every capacity. What does not exist a lot are, for sure, drugstore brands are not very, dark skin tone friendly. Actually, I don't want to use this one. I'm trying to use up some brow pencils that are not my exact color, so that's where I'm at. But yeah, like, there are so many options for people with lighter skin tones that I don't understand why brands aren't focusing more on darker skin tone shades. Like, if I were a makeup company, like, I understand you want to be inclusive and make sure you have as many shades as possible, and you have to know your market. Like, when you're a comedian, you have to know your audience and be able to read, like, what they're gonna think is funny, or like what they want from you as a person in the case of comedy, but in a brand, as in the case of makeup. So if you know that you as a brand that you have 24, they had 24 or 25 shades for light skin tones, why would you then only do friggin' 7, if that, 7 to 8 for darker skin tones? Like, even, like, I would say drugstore brands, like, should focus more on darker skin tone shades. Like, white people have enough options. Okay, I'm sorry, I know I look white, I'm actually half Mexican, even though actually this week someone was trying to call me out and say that I have white privilege, which I have joked about in the past in a comedy set and is kind of true, but in reality I grew up in a poor town in New Mexico. So although in the big picture it would seem that I have white privilege, I still, didn't grow up a rich, affluent, excuse me, that was gross, white person. I feel like I'm getting on a rant about race, but anyway. But yeah, I think as someone with a lighter skin tone, if I saw a foundation launch that was mostly medium to dark skin tones and didn't have maybe my exact match, but there was something that was close enough, but they at least had more options, or even just making it fair, that I think would be a good step in the right direction. Like, I feel like it's getting to that point, but for the most part, it's still a struggle. I would say someone like ColourPop, which is a brand that I've recently been really into, they came out with a bunch of foundation shades. And so I'm like, okay, how is this smaller brand with less money for product development, advertising, all these things, like, coming out with shades that are inclusive and bigger brands are not? Like, I just don't get it. And maybe this is just like a rant that is going nowhere and didn't need to happen, but it's just what I'm thinking about today, and that's just what this is. It's me talking to you guys about what I'm thinking. Okay. So now that my tea is not as piping hot, but so long story long, I just don't want to put my money into things that I don't agree with. And I know that not everybody's gonna feel that way, you know, because like, it's kind of like people who don't eat Chick-fil-A because of all this stuff with like that CEO and that kind of thing that came to light a couple years ago. I just don't want to support people who I disagree with about stuff like that. You know, it's okay to disagree with people about things or have different opinions, but if you're literally going to steal an indie brand's idea, and also, like, to add to it, Jeffrey posted the messages that they were sending back and forth between he and Huda Beauty, and she I guess made a video about it, which I don't care to watch, because I don't care how inspired by something you were, you stole an idea. So either take it down, admit it, like something, which I'm sure it's not as simple as just, well, take it down. Like, it's probably a lot more complicated than that. And I don't work in makeup, so I don't know these things and how they work. But from my outside perspective, I very strongly disagree with it. But anyway, so that was about 15 minutes of me rambling about makeup stuff that I didn't need to. So, enough about makeup stuff, even though I'm still doing it. This is supposed to be a 15-minute makeup routine a la Jaclyn Hill, although, oh, I forgot the eyeliner before. I done miffed it. What am I gonna do? Okay. I just gotta hurry up because I do actually have to work too. Okay, whatever. So I'm just gonna roll right along and just gabbling. So, this weekend, I get to see my best friend. Well, I think. So, the moral of the story I'm going to tell is do not lease a car, because it's a waste of your time and money. Either buy it, save your money, or something, but I would not recommend leasing a car. And not just from the car company that I leased my car from, but just in general. It's all of the drama that I've had to deal with my car was not worth it. So part of the reason that I am going home this weekend, besides to see and be with my family for a couple days, is because I need to turn my car in. Now, I'm not sure if I ever got to this story, because as you well know from watching this channel, I will just talk and talk and talk and maybe or maybe not get to the point. It's one of the best and worst things about me, is that I can talk forever. I am working on it, trying to get to the point faster instead of taking 30 years to explain things or, you know, have people understand where I'm coming from, but I'm not there yet. So when I graduated college, I leased a Toyota Prius for myself. I had never had a new car before, and before that, I had a 2003 Beetle that I loved. And I still love my Beetle, actually. I don't have it anymore. I did sell it. But I had it for years and years and years. Like, I think I got it when I was still in college, and then I had it up until, like, just after. Contouring my nose, because why not? So I finally ended up getting rid of it because I got this Prius and it was old and I didn't want to keep repairing it, because Every other week there was something wrong with it. Like, it would just give me engine problems. The battery, I think, died on it at one point, which, like, that happens in cars. I'm not a complete moron. I know that that is a thing that happens with any car. But it was just getting to the point where it was more of a hassle to have than it was worth. Because I was a freshly out of college student working at Subway and trying to just get through life. And I decided that I couldn't handle it anymore. So instead I got a new car, which is probably just as much or even more expensive than leasing a car. So then I was unsure if I wanted to buy the car because I didn't know if I was dead set on being a Prius owner. Because I had basically been in LA for 3 months at that point, but I was going to be back in New Mexico for a little while. And so I was like, okay, what if I don't want to own this Prius? I just want it for, like, you know, a little while. And then I'll bring it back, which is kind of dumb. But I was very short-sighted at that point in my life. I was 20 years old and I had no business getting a car. But I had the money to because I had just graduated college. So I had extra money laying around, which now looking back is probably one of the more foolish things that I have done in all my days. So I get the Prius and I was left with it for 3 years because that's how long my lease was. So we're 3 years later. As y'all know, I graduated college 3 years ago and my lease is up, or it was up, in May of this year. So I made arrangements to get my car to the Toyota of Albuquerque, which is where I leased it from originally. I flew my happy ass from here to New Mexico, which, like, really is only an hour-and-a-half flight. But the amount of time and money it cost me to go it wasn't like I'm going bankrupt or anything crazy, but it was annoying. So I did that only to have them tell me that I could have taken it to any Toyota. So they told me I did not need to bring my car back to New Mexico. I could have taken it to any Toyota, meaning literally any Toyota. In LA, in Phoenix. I could have taken it to Toyota of Orange, which the only reason I know what that is because I hear so many stupid commercials for it all the time. It's just so silly. I could have taken it anywhere. And I didn't know that because whoever I talked to on the phone when I called them to ask what I need to do about taking my car back in said that I need to take it to the Toyota I got it from, which was a lie. Actually, well, I don't know that it was a full-faced lie, but it was at least misinformation, which is annoying. So at any rate, that's also part of why I will be going home this weekend, is to take my beautiful Persephone, that's what I named my Prius, back to Toyota. And I gotta say, you know, like, if I had, which, I mean, I guess I do, if I wanted to keep having a car payment, I would probably keep my Prius because I do love that car so much. Like, as soon as I sat inside it to, like, test drive it, I knew. And that's why I left with it that day, that I went to go peruse vehicles. And I know some people say that about their significant other. They're like, oh, when you see them, you know, whatever. I knew that about my Prius. I knew that it was a great car and I loved it. I still love it, I guess, very much. But things change and life changes. I don't know where I'm going with this, but the Prius owning, or Prius leasing rather, part of my life is over. Trigger warning, if you don't like people touching their eyes, you're not gonna like this. Oh, well, miffed that one right up. now we get to the point where I try to rush and salvage things, and it just doesn't work. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Should be a good trip. Might go camping and see my best friend, who I love so much, more than anything in this world. But seriously, I do really love my best friend, and I'm so excited I get to see her. And then the week after that, my sister's gonna be here. I know you're not supposed to like drag your eye and whatever, but I'm rushing. Anyway, so my sister and my brother-in-law are going to be here next weekend, and special guest, they are bringing my nephew. And I am so excited. So I think I need to stop talking and just finish this. So thank you guys for watching and sitting through this whole thing. Future me is going to be editing this down. So thank you guys for watching. I love you. I'll see you next weekend. Bye.